In this desperate world, desperate world, in this desperate world, desperate world, in this desperate world, desperate world, in this desperate world, desperate world. Yeah, you know, this is a desperate world that we live in. Damn. Mm, excuse me. All right. Starting the video and I'm sneezing. Excuse me. This is a desperate world that we live in. You know how desperate this world is? The world is getting so desperate that people are becoming desperate for desperate people. Mm. See, it's done got so desperate that people really only want to rock with desperate people. They only want to be in conjunction with other desperate people. What do I mean by that? Hmm. So many topics I could go off on. And I don't be having scripts. Every time I make a video, it's impromptu. So say what you want. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Yeah. But I'm just letting you know it's impromptu when I make these videos. All right. Let's take relationships. Desperate world. So, nowadays in relationships, it's almost like people only want to be in relationships with other desperate people. Desperate for what? Desperate for their attention, desperate for their resources, desperate for their social network. They don't want people that are being competed for. Starting to notice that this one in particular, that would fall on men for the most part. Not the ones that's moving correctly, but I'm just starting to notice. I guess because I be around guys and I get more testimony and observations, seeing how they move, and it's like men be going for desperate women, thus making them desperate. What do I mean by desperate? I mean a woman that's not being competed for that much. A woman that's not sought out. A woman that doesn't have many options. A woman that's damaged. I'm starting to notice that there's like this nice quadrant of men, and it's like they hunt desperate girls. I'm a guy. I've been young before. I'm the age I am now. And at all points in times, I've noticed like that's pretty common. That it seems like there's this certain group of guys And somehow or another, even though there's 4 quadrants on a graph, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's this one quadrant that just infects and plagues the whole damn graph damn near. And I'm particularly talking about men right now. Desperate. Going after desperate girls. Going after girls you know have low self-esteem. Going after women that you know are emotionally damaged. Going after girls that you know don't really talk to their family much. Going after girls that got kids already. So you sitting here trying to size them up like, well, I know I wouldn't have much competition. All I gotta do is isolate her and then pour it on her with my dominance and brainwashing stuff that men do. But you can't really do those things unless she's desperate. I be seeing men date from what I would perceive when I look at them. When I see, where they are in the structural hierarchy of society, and I would be like, well, if there's 10 rungs or 10 tiers, maybe this guy's like a 5. He's average, yeah, but he don't go after even an average woman. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Maybe this person isn't just looking surface level. Maybe he's looking beneath the surface. And that has a very nice connotation to it. Well, I'm not just looking at surface level. I look beneath the surface. Sounds nice, but here's the reality of it. Yeah, they looking beneath the surface, okay? They looking beneath the surface. They looking beneath the surface to your self-esteem. They're looking beneath the surface to your financial status. They're looking beneath the surface to your social structure. And once they see all of that stuff is like ripe for the picking, then they'll go for you. Like, ooh, she ain't got no friends. If I end up being her friend, I have her hooked. She kind of struggling. She ain't got no car. She ain't got no money. She, whatever. Be like, I ain't gonna have no competition there. Cause who else is gonna want him? Only person that's gonna want him is maybe somebody lesser than me. So then they swoop in like a eagle in the sky, just like let's go straight for emotionally unstable or emotionally damaged women. Okay. See, this is what a lot of y'all women be doing. A lot of women be simping. Y'all be simping. See that P in someone idolizing mediocre? There's the P word referring to women, but there's a P word referring to men too. Women be idolizing mediocre penis. And what is that? That means you idolizing that desperate man. Desperate man. And what is that desperate man looking at when he looks at you? He's looking at somebody that's emotionally damaged. So maybe I'm snitching. I don't know. But there's a good portion of men, when they see you emotionally damaged, you know what they look at? They look at the fact that, like, oh, well, it'd be really hard for her to call me on my BS. It'd be really hard for me to hold her accountable. Or it'd be really hard for her to hold me accountable because she all messed up in the head and she unstable mentally and she got a temper and she hypersensitive or she ratchet or she's depressed, you know? So that way it's like, I could just gaslight the hell out of her. Man, y'all should look at this movie. I forget the movie it is, but gaslighting came from this old school movie. It was this movie where this guy, you know, was in close quarters with a woman. He had a relationship with a woman and he knew that she was struggling with things. So basically, he just kept dimming the lights and then bringing them back up and then dimming the lights, messing with her. And then if she ever said anything, when she got to the point where she tried to call him out, like, hey, like, you're manipulating my surroundings. You're manipulating my environment. He would just be like, what are you talking about? We both know you're crazy. We both know you're depressed. So could this not be some more of that depressing stuff coming out? You know, with your false allegations? But yeah, but the reality is he was doing that. He was doing them exact things. He knew what he was doing. But see, he already smelled the desperation on her. And he was like, I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna run with that. Desperate world. Desperate world. So, financially, okay. Preying on people that you see struggling. Maybe they at a maybe she ain't where she gonna be. Maybe she ain't where she has been in previous time frames. Maybe she ain't where she should be in the present. But right now, you smell desperation on her. So you just swan dive on her. Start using her circumstances against her. At that point, now, whether you are handling your money right as a man, whether you are prospering as a man, whether you have ambitions as a man, whether you got financial burdens, see, all of that can get pushed to the side now. All of that can get omitted. All of that can get circumvented because it's on the table full blast and manifested that she's having financial struggles. So, what does the guy do? He comes in and makes himself the financial cornerstone, the financial structure, make it seem like his money is the golden ticket. Make it seem like he get to be watching her money and how she spent her money or even taking her money and she can't say nothing about his money. She can't even contest or even challenge what he doing with his money because he's come in with this predominant overtone that, hey, I got more money than you, so you can't say nothing. She might be legitimately struggling because she's out here really trying to live life and maybe she doesn't have as much support structure. Life, man, life is a beast. It'll chew anybody up. Maybe she getting gnawed on. Maybe she getting nibbled on right now. And because she's in that situation at that point in time, he just take it and run with it. gaslighting her. Like, well, you're messing up because you ain't got somebody like me overseeing you and dominating and manipulating the hell out of you, basically. You need to do what I say. You need to move like I say move. But unbeknownst to a lot of women, it seems, this guy is predatorial for women like that. They just go from one woman to another woman to another woman, treating them all like that. Stacking up a little something something with each one that they exploit, or getting a discount on their life from each woman that they take advantage of. Mess around and like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, you got a man and a woman, they're in a relationship. 80, 90% of her money is going towards bills, financial obligations, whatever they are, man. You know, maybe she has a car note. Whether it's a good decision for her to have that car note and have that car, that's another thing. What I'm talking about is the fact that it's something that she has a financial obligation to, and maybe it's got her struggling. Well, maybe this dude has a more cushier situation. Maybe he don't have those things, or maybe he got his car paid off. Maybe he don't even have a car. I don't know. Maybe he's paying his car just fine. Maybe he's not struggling there. But it get down to it, and I see this a lot. So 80 to 90% of her money is going actually towards obligations and kind of where it should be going. You look over here, this guy, only like 50% of his money is going towards that. So he got a little bit more room to be frugal with his money. He ends up having more money because he just doesn't have as much overhead expenses for whatever reason. So he starts coming at this woman like he's more financially literate. Social structure. So it's like, look, I'm telling you, this is like, man, I'd be modest and say it's 50% of men, just from what I've observed in recent years. But there's a good portion of them where they don't want women that have friends. They don't want women that have males within close range of them. They don't want no uncles around. They don't want no brothers around. They don't want no nephews around. They don't want no cousins around. They don't want no fathers around. They don't want no baby daddies around. So they can isolate her and just be wrapping her up in a little web to the point where she's just in a cocoon like, well, I guess I'll stay with you. But like she really, you done cut off what little she had. Sometimes maybe she don't have anything. You done cut all that off, so yeah, like you the only thing she really got now. You don't want no men around to the point where if you put your hands on her or get stupid, she can hit somebody up and they come through and beat your ass. Or at least diminish the value of your possessions. However they get at you. You ain't always got to be physical to get at people. Mess around in that nice car you have don't run no more. It's paid off, but who cares now? You're in the market for a new car now. Like, you know what I'm saying? That just that type of stuff. I'm not saying I condone that, but you know, I know I know how a lot of men move. They don't want women around that could get on the phone and hit somebody up and be like, man, this is what this dude doing to me. No, you be trying to isolate all that. They don't want women that have a wide social net to the point where if he on the other side of town doing something he ain't supposed to be doing, word gonna get back to her. He don't want that. No, no, you got too much you got too much reconnaissance power. She be thinking she got recon power. That's what I'm gonna just call it. I'm gonna call it recon power. Maybe she know one or two people you work with. You be doing little silly stuff at work that you shouldn't be doing and it get back to her. He don't want that. Maybe if the man start acting up and getting stupid, she got some friends or some relatives that she can go stay with and retreat away from this guy for a while. Nah, she don't want that. See, that's like you being on an island and he like, hey, you can't have no boat. You can't be having no canoe. You can't be having no speedboat. Can't be having no sea doo. That means somebody can come and save you. Desperate world. All right. So that's just a example. I just had to speak on that because I see that stuff a lot. It's just people, particularly women, be isolated, getting isolated up with men. And see, this isn't to say that women don't do this to men because they do, but it's it's worse when men do it to women because it get to a point where a man just standing in the door like, nah, you can't leave. He done found out, or she done found out that you done did something really wrong. She trying to leave. She like, trying to get out of the situation, and she's not being able to leave. She's not being permitted to leave or whatever. It's like unfortunately a man can play that off a little bit better unless she got a unless she got a gun on her or unless she get the jump on him. You flip that adverse, it's a little bit harder for a woman to keep a man in one place. I mean, for the most part, if a man want to move, he can move. If a man wants to move a woman, he can move a woman. So that's just an interesting part of this desperate world. And a lot of these men that I'm talking about, that's in that quadrant, they don't want women that aren't desperate. Because women that aren't desperate, women that know they don't have to put up with that crap, women that have options, women that have support, they intimidated by those type of women. Like, oh, I don't even know what I would do with her. And they'll break it down to something like, see, this is a little narrative that's going on with men, like, oh, she got 3 degrees and she got all this money and she's like, one of those Independent. What the hell does that mean? But they don't want them because they look at it like, oh man, surely she already knows she ain't got put up with my crap. That's really what it be. Tell y'all a little game of why like men don't want independent women these days, because they don't want women that know that they ain't gotta put up with their crap. be trying to mask it like, oh, women be trying to act like they don't need a man, and like women be out here real masculine, and like, women be acting like they wear the pants. Yeah, it do be like that. That gets spoken on. I speak on that plenty. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the men that's just flat out intimidated by it at face value. And why more often than not these men are intimidated by that. They're intimidated by it because they know that they can't be like, they know like this the type of chick where you put your hands on her one time, deuces. Like she's not gonna be all like desperate women be like, oh well, well I did put too much pepper in the damn steak. Like, like just the crazy brainwash. Oh well, I guess I should have, you know, I did forget to wash his clothes. Like, just it's so sad when you see this stuff. It's like, yo, wait, so you didn't wash the clothes on his time frame or something, so he started beating on you? uh um some man was looking at you in the store and you didn't give any type of attention or any type of acknowledgement to it, and he jealous because it's like he gonna take my supply, and so he started beating on you. He It's nuts, but they know what type of women ain't putting up with that. Here's another example of desperation in this world: the job market. Oh, wow. The job market, the labor force has gotten so desperate it's sad. I'm going to bury the lead on the one that's most obvious, but I'm going to talk about employees that are desperate or seeking desperation, should I say. Employees that seek desperate employers. COVID kind of blew this out of the water. That was a positive aspect of the pandemic. But prior to the pandemic, surely I would notice that you would have these establishments, and they got people. Now, mind you, the establishment been there for 20 years or something, however long, and you got, let's say you got 10 employees. You can just increase the increment by however big the establishment is. But let's say you got 10 employees and you got 7 of them that's been there for like 11, 10, 9 years. And then you got one that's been there for a year. And then the last 2 just be rotating in and out. That's the turnover. So you got, out of 10, you got 7 that's been there for damn near a decade. Then you got one that's been there for like 1 year or 2 years. And then the last 2, they just can't seem to keep nobody in that position. Well, you know what that is? That's because those 7 employees that are the mainstay, they be running everybody out. They chew up and eat up. They probably on their way to working on that one that's been there for a year or 2. And they damn sure chew up the 2 that just are in a position of turnover. And how does that happen? You would think that an employer would notice that that's going on at some point, right? And they would get rid of these people. Like, hey, I'm not being able to progress. And then kind of get the establishment in a position where it's like, well, if y'all quit, I have no employees. Like, I'm just screwed. I don't have anybody to train people up to your position. I don't have people to take over your position. I'm just going to be screwed. But see, these employees know that. They smell desperation on the establishment. They smell desperation on this small business. They know that they can't get rid of them. They know they can't really afford to get rid of them. So they just do what the hell they want, basically. They do what they want. They treat people how they want. They follow rules arbitrarily. They break them systematically. And or they know that they cannot be dismissed, at least not in a logical mind, because they have too much value and no one else has value. They intentionally withhold and siphon and just impede other people from getting value so that they keep it all. Getting all the raises, getting to a point where it's like, now mind you, I said there's 7 like mainstay people or whatever. And then they got the one person that's been there for 1 or 2 years or whatever. And then they got the 2 people that they rotating in and out. That's the 10 employees of this small business. Well, those 7 that stay are pretty much the reason why you can't keep other people. And there's those point in times where you don't even have anybody in those 2 bottom positions. Maybe sometimes you don't even have that third person. It just be those 7. So what can those 7 do? Those 7 can start demanding raises. Those 7 can start showing their ass. Those 7 can basically start punking their boss. Work when they want to work. Not work when they don't want to work. Boycott their ass and stuff. Just bend the employer to their will. That actually goes on a lot. See, I've been living in a small city for the last 4 years, and just it's amazing the things that I see. Now I said 10, it can go as high as like maybe they got 50 employees, then you just stagnated. And the point is, like, out of the 50, you'll have like 10 or 15 spots that's just constant turnover. Because out of the 50, you got maybe 10 people sitting up at the top that ain't going nowhere. No, they can't really be dismissed because they have all of the value, they have all of the knowledge, they have all of the insight, and they really aren't trying to develop people to, carry weight. They're just trying to keep them at a low value so that they can't be competed with, so that there's no competition for their position. Maybe it's only got 5 people working there. Okay, you see what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter. It just carries over. So out of 5 people, you got 2 that know they're gonna be there. You got a third person that's kind of like in the middle, and then the last 2 they just hustle, just turnover. Mm. And I didn't really see it like for what it was until I got into a small town and I started seeing it on a smaller scale. It's a little harder to notice it when you got like 150 people that work somewhere, 100 people, and they all in separate departments. It kind of gets spread out. But yeah, I noticed that. Employees seeking desperate employers. All right. Now, switch it over to employers seeking desperate employees. And this can maybe even go as high as just what minimum wage is. Y'all know the last time minimum wage increased? It's been going on 2 decades now or something. I'm pretty sure that thing ain't increased since like 2008 or something. But yeah, um, it's just kind of nuts. And then not only is just the minimum wage period bad, but just the wage that they're paying as an establishment. They know they're not paying nothing. So what happens when you ain't paying nothing? When you're not paying people what they should get? Um, You just start to get a lower quality of employees. You don't get good employees. You don't you're not paying good money. So you're only going to get desperate employees basically. And from there, it's like now they're you come through the door and you ask for too much money, they like won't give it to you. They'll turn you right around. You could be everything that they need. You can be of the caliber that they need to increase their business and increase their value, but you're not desperate. You don't sound desperate. You got people paying people $8 an hour, $9 an hour. In 2023, where do you justify paying somebody that much money? You come in here asking for $13 to be like, oh, well, thank you for your time. We'll call you back if we're interested. Throw your application in the trash. Or they give you that money. And then when they give it to you, oh man, they make you do the job of like 5 people. People that know their rights. People that know how things are supposed to be as an employer. They don't want those people. So, just keep an eye out for that. Don't work for these establishments. Don't hire these people. Don't date these people. They're desperate. See, that establishment in that last example I gave, they're desperate. Clearly, they can't keep people. And then the quality of people that they have, I mean, I hate to say it, but if you're paying that little of money, that's not somebody that can just go get a job anywhere. That's not somebody with a nice resume. That's not somebody with 3 or 4 jobs hitting them up for their services. That's somebody that either A, they don't really need money like that, or B, is you get what you pay for. I don't think that's something that's crippling. And I'm gonna say that I live in America right now, and I think America is like really tripping on the fact that you get what you pay for. And I don't think that I don't know who's messing it up. It might be these baby boomers that's running everything because that's real funny. All of the stuff that's about to get attacked and all of the stuff that's under fire, like Social Security and Medicaid and retirement, where the hell did that come from? See, those are the people that you would perceive as desperate. So you messing with them, trying to increase the retirement age, trying to, man, you let some people get in office, they're going to do away with Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare and all of that stuff because they look at them people as desperate. But the reality is, they wanting to cut those funds and they wanting to cut that money for reasons that you can't see, and it's because there's some desperation behind the scenes. That's why they want to move the money from here to there, because somehow whatever's supposed to been getting done over there ain't been getting done, so now you're gonna go over here and mess with other people. It's real crazy. Places not offering like health insurance, places that don't give you a break at work. You be working 10, 11, 12 hours and you don't get a break. And then you look at the labor laws or something in that state, and it's like the labor laws is looking crazy. But then you actually look at those states that have those crazy laws, and it's like, you all kind of came up off of desperation. Like it'd be like, I hate to say it, but it'd be more like southern places that didn't really have to pay people. That's sad. I'm from the South, so I could say that. You know, down south, people don't really think too much about paying folks like they should. Or in these rural areas, people don't think much about paying people like they should. Like maybe if you're in the Midwest or something like that, they don't really pay people like they should because they're used to people not having very many options. You go to places where they have competitive job markets, just competitive communities. Like it ain't just like, well, I have to live here and I gotta pay this crazy rent price and I gotta deal with this. No, they live places where other people got options. Like you can't just have some head busting price for rent in, places that kind of are prospering and have a marketable or revenue driven economy. You can't just be having these head busting prices because people won't pay it. They'll go somewhere where there's a better price. But you start getting in those areas where people don't have very many options. You charge people whatever the hell you want. You pay people whatever the hell you want. And that's what the whole game has come to. So yeah, just back it up from where I went. Relationships, particularly how men be coming at women. Desperate. The labor market. Desperate world. Even the housing market when it comes to rent. Desperate world. Be on the lookout for this desperate mentality. Check yourself and make sure you're not moving desperate. Because sometimes you're not even moving desperate. Maybe you just moving humble. Like, for example, maybe you got options. Maybe you don't even need as much from the circumstance or the situation or the endeavor as other people might need in this situation. But people will size you up like you do. Maybe you are financially stable. Maybe you got two jobs. Maybe you just a elderly person, you working just to get out of the house. Like you got your stuff taken care of, but it's like, hey, I'm gonna go work and I kind of miss it. And that's not what they see. They gonna come at you like you desperate. And you not even desperate. You might be in a situation like, hey, I really don't need this job like that. And you just gonna be like catching them off guard, like, or maybe you got a friend that you hang out with, and or maybe you got an associate, and you just a compatible person. Maybe you just a people person. Maybe you just are a charismatic person. Don't mean that you need friends. Don't mean that you expect to get something out of this person. Maybe you just hang out with them just because you actually like them. You like their energy. You enjoy their company. You enjoy their presence. That's it. You don't enjoy their resources. You don't enjoy their finances. You don't enjoy their attention. You're not an attention seeking person, but maybe they are. And if they are, that's how they're sizing you up. You come over their house or you hang out with them just because you want to hang out with them. They start trying to dissect while you hanging out with them. And then start trying to pull stuff as though if they add some stipulations or some manipulation, you're going to adjust to it. Like almost like ultimatum stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about because you've been through it, and some of y'all know what I'm talking about because you be doing it. But yeah, that would be my last thing. Be careful and observe how people size you up. Because sometimes people will size you up and they'll take your humility and your compassion and your open mindedness, and somehow it'll compute or translate into desperation by the time they get done telling the story. So don't mess with those people either. Desperate world. Deuces.